we talk about growth, elegance, and becoming the highest version of yourself. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Laury, the founder of Laury Bride and Living, where I design bridal gowns and experiences right here in this space for women stepping into one of the most transformational seasons of their lives. For years, I've worked with brides who weren't just choosing a gown, they were stepping into a new identity, a new chapter, and a new level of elevation. And through those conversations, I realized something. Becoming a wife is more than a title change. It's a shift, a shedding, a transformation. And that's exactly what Living with Laury is all about. Not just the gown, not just weddings, not just home, but life, growth, and the moments that redefine us as women. So, here we'll talk about elegance, intention, love, and the art of living well. From embracing your feminine power to curating a home that nurtures your evolution. Living with Laury is more than just about aesthetics. It's about becoming. And what better way to begin this journey with today's episode, The Shift, becoming her after I do. Because one thing I always tell my brides is this: you can't take your girlfriend self into your wife self. So let's talk about what that really means. How to move through this transition with grace and intention, and why this is one of the most beautiful opportunities to step fully into the woman you are meant to be. Let's get into it. You can't take your girlfriend self into your wife self. Let me say that again. You can't take your girlfriend self into your wife self. There's a shift that has to happen, a shedding, a becoming. And this transition is not just about marriage. It's about the evolution of you. And because after you say I do, you're not the same woman with the new title. You're a woman stepping into a new frequency, a new mindset, and a new way of moving into the world. So today, we're talking about the shift after we say I do. The journey of releasing the parts of you that no longer fit and embracing the version of you that was made for this next season. This conversation is for the women who feel the change happening right inside of them, but don't have the words for it yet. So let's get into it. So nobody really talks about the space between who you were and who you are becoming, the in-between, right? This is a constant conversation I have with many of my bridal clients. We spend so much time planning for the wedding, the dress, the decor, the celebration, but what happens after when the guests leave, the music fades, and it's just you standing in the reality of what it means to be a wife? It's a shift, a silent but powerful shift. And this is where a lot of us struggle, including myself, because stepping into this version of you requires leaving pieces of the old you behind. And not because she was wrong, not because she wasn't enough, but because she has taken you as far as she can. And now it's time for a woman who moves differently, a woman who sees differently, a woman who builds, leads, and carries herself differently. So there are certain things you cannot take into your new self after you say I do. You can't take the mindset that relationships are just about fun and romance, because this is not just about feeling good. It's about building something that lasts. You can't take an individualistic, I move how I want mentality into a partnership that requires harmony and intention. You can't take surface level communication into a relationship that requires depth, patience, and real understanding. You can't take emotional unawareness into a space where your ability to regulate, express, and communicate your emotions determines the health of your home. Marriage will reveal you. It will ask you to be more aware, more intentional, and more grounded in who you are and how you show up. And look, I am not an expert. I am married. I am just sharing my experience as a wife, but trust and believe I am learning every day on how to show up for not only myself, but my husband at the same time. So this is where some of us resist the shift because letting go is very uncomfortable. But hear me when I say this, you cannot be afraid to release the version of you that is not equipped for where you are going. The woman who avoided accountability in relationships, she has to go. Needed to have the last word in every disagreement, she has to go. Looked at submission as a weakness instead of a strategy, she has to go. Thought she could grow in marriage without intentionally working on herself, she has to go. Because what's ahead of you requires more. More grace, more wisdom, more discernment, and more self-awareness. This is the part where you get to decide. Are you going to stay the same, or are you going to rise to the woman you were destined to be? So who is this woman on the other side of this shift? She is soft, but not weak. She knows how to move with grace, how to make her presence feel like peace, not pressure. She is wise, not reactive. She doesn't fight every battle. She discerns which ones are worth her energy. She is intentional. She doesn't let outside noise dictate how she moves. She leads her home, her love, and her life with clarity. She is spiritually grounded because she knows that a marriage built on ego and emotions will crumble. But a marriage built with wisdom will withstand anything. And most importantly, she understands that the greatest thing she can bring to her marriage is the most whole, healed, and evolved version of herself. And that is her. That is who you are becoming after you say, I do. So if you feel this shift happening in you, I want you to sit with this. What version of you needs to be released? What habits, thoughts, or ways of moving no longer align with the woman you are becoming or you want to become? What does the highest version of you look like in a marriage? Because she is waiting for you, but she won't meet you where you were. She will meet you where you are willing to go. Okay, I want to hear from you. What part of this conversation resonated the most? What shift are you personally experiencing right now? Drop a comment below because I want to hold space for this conversation. And if you know another woman in her I Do season, share this with her. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to Living with Laury, and turn on your notifications because we're ready to live higher. Until next time, walk in your elevation. The woman you are becoming is waiting for you.